We're going to be watching ICEICEICE play offlane. He actually decided to go with a Queen of Pain offlane this game, which is kind of interesting. It's not your regular offlane hero, but we will watch how he will play his laning and how he will move around on the map, because that's probably the most important thing for offlaning. So let's see what he is going to do this game with this fringe offlane hero. I really like Queen of Pain in the current patch. It's really fun to play. It's got really good skills, especially Shadow Strike. It's like super strong when you max it out. 4-second cooldown, it does a bunch of damage, slows for 65%, absolutely insane. It looks like at the start of the game, they're gonna have 3 guys go top lane for the bounty rune here. Especially since it's downhill, it's like really easy to try to get that bounty. And they're just gonna zone out, the supports are gonna zone out the other heroes. ICEICEICE is gonna go back and block, the supports are gonna get both of the bounty runes. CM going back to the bottom lane, and it's just gonna be an Earth Spirit plus ICEICEICE Queen of Pain. In top lane, this Earth Spirit is Tim's. So right away from the start of the lane meets up like near the tower, not really too near because of pulls, and instantly he decides to pull the creeps onto the ranged here. He wants to get this creep denied if possible, but obviously the troll won't allow it. And because the range creep died right away, the lane will push into ICEICEICE, and now he can hold the wave in front of his tower instead. And the other support is already pulling the creep wave, trying to be annoying. And now it's going to be ICEICEICE fighting this Troll Warlord by himself. He actually went for Scream of Pain level 1, so he can get like some last hits, it seems like. He actually did not go for the Shadow Strike route, which is kind of interesting. So he's just going to use the Scream of Pain, secure whatever last hits he can. And he doesn't even go Blink in this lane. He goes for the Shadow Strike on level 2. He realizes that Blink is probably not something that he needs. And the Troll Warlord, because of the pulls that happened and he brought the heroes back here, the Troll Warlord decides to TP out because he had to come here contestant, and then he got cancelled by the Earth Spirit roll. And now the co-op just using, like, if you notice in this situation, like, every time they go for Tim's, like, ICEICEICE is always hitting them back, right? He's not too focused on, like, getting all these assets when there's a chance to screw with the enemy support or the core hero, especially when they're focusing your support. So the troll and the Chen were focusing the Earth Spirit, so ICEICEICE is like helping him, right? So when they're focusing ICEICEICE, he just runs away. When they're focusing Tim's, he helps the Earth Spirit and he helps hit the Chen and the troll back. And because of these like small things that they do, they always get like this advantage in like regen. So this troll right now has like 160 health, no TP, and feels awful. What the troll's idea was, he was going to TP to base and then Chen was going to bring him back with Divine Favor, but the TP got cancelled. And now after he already screws with the enemy core or the support, whoever it is, then he goes back to the lane and starts farming. So like in the offlane, it's really important, like you try to help your support, or together with your support you can like screw over the lane, because you're not ever really expected to win your lane super hard, but you are expected to like at least maybe apply some pressure or get whatever you possibly can if the lane is too hard. So here he's always using his Scream of Pain to get last hits in the lane, where especially for the ones that it's like very hard for him to get. And he skips his Blink again and goes with level 2 Shadow Strike. Now, if you're a lower MMR player, I would say like don't skip Blink, because you might need it as a safety net. But because ICEICEICE is like really good at lane control and like understanding how to like not be in a situation where he dies, he can afford to do plays like this. So here he just keeps Shadow Strike. Now that it's level 2, he keeps Shadow Striking the enemy carry, and then he's focusing on the last hits. And look at his last hits at 10, trolls at 16, but that's okay. It still feels like this troll is not free farming and is still applying a lot of pressure in this lane. And he brings more like stats from the courier. And now the troll's by himself because they noticed the Chen went to pull, just doing some extra damage. And you can see here, like for example, he skips on both of these creeps in favor of dealing damage to the enemy core, right? Or the support. Like when your support is going in, you should like try to see where you can get some damage, because when the enemy gets pushed out of the lane, you will naturally have time to farm. Because when they get pushed out of the lane, then they're no longer contesting you for last hits. But when they're contesting you and you're being contested for last hits, it feels bad, because you'll only get like probably half those last hits regardless. So here they're just gonna have like this double wave coming into them, and they just focus on like trying to make sure the enemy can't like help get these last hits, and then naturally this wave will go in front of their tower now. And he got more regen, always bringing tangles, clarities, mango, whatever he possibly needs. This guy has gotten a lot of mangoes this game. ICEICEICE. And he's just waiting for the creep wave to come into his tower, and then he's just gonna farm it. Right? Level 4, he didn't even skill his blink yet. So in this lane, like whenever there's nobody helping him, like Earthsphere for example, he's always like right-clicking the enemy hero to like pull the aggro. So it keeps running down the lane back to here. He doesn't want to farm up here. He always wants to like try to farm down here. Especially when he's like in a weaker position in the game. So now that Earth Spirit has left his lane to go gank elsewhere, he's just like playing with the Chen, making sure that he can like get whatever he can there. Like he tried to steal the Centaur. And he's pulling the creeps even to the back area over here maybe. Just so like the creeps that are here will be delayed into going to the enemy. He wants to keep these waves all the way back here where there's no threat of him dying or being chased down in the lane. Because he's playing in the offlane. It's a hard lane to play in.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So I kind of like that, how he always focuses on that, especially when his lane is very hard. Because normally what I would do is like I would always like try to shove the lane and play in the jungle, but this is probably a better situation for you to like get more XP without like always risking of dying to the enemy or something. And like this Chen is being super annoying, right? He's got like a harpy and he's like keeps lightning and stuff like that. And then what he did here was like he could go back to base and heal up with all this, but he wants to make sure that this catapult dies so that this tower doesn't take too much damage, right? These catapults are the ones that do the most damage to towers. So he's just making sure that they don't die. And that's why he's staying in the lane even though he has very little resources. And before the harpy can lightning one more time, he already blinks out. And he's even brought like another flask into the top lane. So because like there's so many people, like not so many people, so many creeps are like hitting the tower, he wants to make sure that he's still ready here to like stop this tower from dying. And he's almost close to level 6. That's the time where it gets really scary for Troll because Queen of Pain ulti does a lot of damage and he instantly skills it up. So something to note is like I probably would have just went back to base and healed, but ICEICEICE like just keeps chugging regen and bringing regen to his lane non-stop. So he finished Null Talisman, Magic Wand, he's got a Ring of Regen for some HP, and ICEICEICE as an offlaner really likes to go like team items, like for example Guardian Greaves, Mech, like Pipe, all these items. So it could be because he wants to build into one of those. And now that he has Blink, like this Troll has like 0 chance of killing this Queen of Pain unless ICEICEICE messes the Blink. And one other good thing of like keeping the wave here is because when he blinks, he can blink into the tower. But if the wave is here, when he blinks, he's gonna blink right here where the Chen can just come from behind and attack him. And he's, as you can see, like he's always like tanking the creeps and making sure they don't run into the tower. So that the creep wave will always stay right here in front of the tower instead of like going in, getting killed by the creeps, getting killed by a tower, and then the wave is back here again. Like this entire laning stage for ICEICEICE, he's always was thinking about like how can he keep the wave right here in front of his tower, and like he's doing everything to accomplish that. And right now his last is 25, Troll has 47, but because this lane is really hard, like Troll Chen is not an easy lane to beat at all, and the Earth Spirit has been roaming around and killing for his teammates, like what he's accomplished by himself is really big. And you can do this play if you, especially if you understand like creep aggroing, and like you can micro your waves over here all the time in like your own pub games. You can do that by yourself. You don't even need a support to lane with you. Because a lot of carries and supports won't know how to counter that in like lower MMR games. So, like with his Queen of Pain, he's just so focused on like being annoying. And he went for the max Shadow Strike build. So this is like the build like you generally see nowadays on Queen of Pain. Because at level 4 Shadow Strike, it's 4-second cooldown. And it does so much damage. And slows. So it takes the bounties thing, and then top lane the Lycan rotated to take the tower. So as soon as the Lycan came top, he ditched the top lane, and now he's like playing around the mid lane with his teammates, because now that the Lycan is top and taking the tower for him, there's no more creeps for him. He doesn't want to contest his other core player, right? He's a position 3. If the carry wants his lane, you give him the lane, you know? You go elsewhere already, even though he's not like super farmed or something, right? He's okay, but because he's got that level 4 Shadow Strike and Blink, like he feels comfortable to run around and just Shadow Strike people or like find another lane for himself if needed. So he's got a Dust. That's really good to kill the Sanking with. He's preparing top lane. And at this point, the Lycan also has a Dust with ultimate. They might just end up killing him. And there it is, Dust into Shadow Strike. Sanking ulting. Oh, this could be really scary, but nice Sonic Wave there. And it like, pushes the Sanking away from him. So the Sanking epicenter didn't do anything. And we can see now, like, the way he's playing is like a support, right? He's the one moving around the map and like seeing if he has any opportunities to help his cores get kills. And he's playing like a support. Like you normally see like offlaners just AFK in the lane here, but because he's Queen of Pain and there's a Lycan in his lane, he's transitioning into playing like a position 4 kind of. And he's just like, you know, waiting for his team to jump, blinking in after to help them, shadow strike people, slow them down. Like this 65% slow is the same as like pretty much a stun. Like look, this Chen can't even move, man. It's so wrecked. And they're just playing like some OG style Dota, just like running at people with like their spells and stuff, and just absolute chaos. And it's really nice. And you can see the items he's going for. He got headdress, and now he's also going for a mech next. And he might just end up buying a energy booster here with his 900 gold that he's about to hit, so he can have a more mana pool and mana for his team too, which is really nice. He took an arcane ring for himself. And you can see like he just kind of ran through the map like this, see if there's like anybody to fight, and then when there's like some downtime because he doesn't have his ultimate and there's like a lane pushed into him, he just pushes it out. But you can notice that he never uses TP to like actually farm. He just casually walk there, and he always has his TP ready to like join his team. So if there's a fight that breaks out mid lane, this Queen of Pain, like ICEICEICE will probably just TP middle and like help his team out. That's me low MMR games. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like lower MMR games, like in higher MMR games, the supports are really good, so they will always know like how to counter what you're trying to do. But in a lot of situations, even in high MMR games, some people don't know what they're doing. So here he just like Shadow Strike the troll, just be super annoying. Now the Lycan has rotated bottom because ICEICEICE already pushed out the bottom lane, and the tier 1 tower is the next objective, right? So he's always pushing these lanes out so his teammates can like connect for the next objective. Alright, let's go back a little bit. So this Mars is in the enemy jungle, and Lycan has taken over the bottom lane to push the tower, and instantly the same thing, as soon as Lycan is in his lane, who's the carry, he instantly starts running to his team, who's in a fight, and he notices that there's like a bunch of heroes being stacked up together. Even if he might not get any last hits, he's just using the ultimate to like do some damage and push the people away from his Mars. He actually saved his Mars using that Sonic Wave. And now the troll dies after the Shadow Strike, and he has another Shadow Strike up again. No blink yet. Shadow Strikes the Void Spirit. Lots of damage. Slow. Very nice. And the Lycan doing his job just took bottom tower. Forced the glyph now, and ICEICEICE is just like being super annoying. He knows he can't die very fast. So he's just like, you know, blinking in, living life on the edge here. And you can see like his usage of Sonic Wave was like, because he's a position 3, he's not a position 2 or 1, he's not the actual carry in this game. He uses it to like just save his teammate, right? Sure, he did a bunch of damage, which was really nice, but his priority was to save his teammate. And then, like, doing the damage was like collateral part for him here. And we noticed this game, like, he actually never went back to base. He's always bringing Flask and, like, Clarities to himself. And he's never, like, actually going back to base. He's always holding his TP, being ready to, like, help his teammates if they get attacked somewhere. Like, for right now, he's bottom lane, far away from his team. But they have an outpost top that he can just TP to if he needs to fight with his team. And he's just making sure that this bottom tower doesn't die, and the catapult, he can kill it off, and the enemy can't like push this lane because there's an annoying Queen of Pain bottom that can just live by just blinking away, right? So what he's doing right now is he's buying time for his team to take towers while still being ready to help his team by just TPing to the outpost, right? So it's like defending while also being ready to fight is actually insane. And the only reason why he's able to do this is because he's always like bringing Flask and Clarity to himself, staying high resources all the time. Here he gets jumped and got arrowed. He dies. His teammates come bottom, they get a return kill. They actually get many return kills. I believe the Void Spirit might die too. Nope, it didn't die. Okay. That was like a 50-50, I think. Like, so in this situation, if you're gonna defend towers like this, you probably don't want to be so far out like this. Like, you just want to defend the tower like over here. But because of the Void Spirit and the Sanking, and they saw that like top is being killed, the tower was dying, like Dire felt really desperate to make this play happen. I mean, he died, but that's okay. I think if he had like a little bit more HP, he probably wouldn't have died. Or if he manages to get his magic stick off. But at the end of the day, like, the idea is there, right? Like, he's just ready to join his team in a fight while still defending his tower. A lot of people wouldn't really think about that, and they would just like kind of leave this area of the map. The way he positioned himself is like, if he does get jumped, like his teammates are ready to help him too, if needed. So he revives now, and then he looks around the map, nothing to do, doesn't TP out. Now he got an SS ring, it gives him mana regen, int, and also a lot of HP, which is really nice for when he blinks in. And here they're going on, this is a really interesting Sonic Wave. I'm not sure why he did this one, to be exact. But he didn't have Blink to get in a better position to activate a better Sonic Wave. He just kind of ults like this troll alone, which wasn't very good. He Shadow Strikes, blinks out. Now the Earth Spirit goes in but doesn't have ulti, so it's a very bad jump by the Earth Spirit, and they just casually run away. And now they're losing a lot of vision on the map, but the Lycan, he's doing a good job at split pushing, which is giving them a little bit of like room before they actually need to defend something. So the enemy goes for the Roshan. He doesn't have Sonic Wave. Let's see what he does. He just casually blinks in. In the fog, he activated Scream of Pain because this spell does hit in fog units. And there's a courier here giving some vision. They actually jump ICEICEICE. He uses the Essence Ring and just blinks away. But look how he blinked, right? He blinked away, but while his team goes to try to stop Roshan. Like, he blinked away in a position where he's still ready to help his team instead of blinking over here where he's completely out of the fight. So these two guys go for him, he baits them, and then he runs over here where anyone who tries to run away, he's ready to Shadow Strike and hit them. Like, for example, this Chen. Boom. Now I got him, right? He's always like watching his minimap and seeing the position of his allies. So they don't get the Aegis, which is okay, but they do get some kills. And you can see he's got Dust always because there's a Sanking on the enemy team. You need Dust to kill Sanking. And this is probably like the first time he's going back to base, apart from when he died, right? And even now, he doesn't use his TP to go out of the base. He's just like holding his TP in case there's a fight that breaks out somewhere on the map and he needs to TP to that like outpost. Like, this is a really big thing that professional players do all the time. They never use their TP mindlessly. They always walk out of their base if needed, and always wait, and you always use their TP to react to some play that's going to be happening on the map. Right now he's got a mech. Now he's a team. This is a team playing Queen of Pain right here, who just always using like Shadow Strike to be annoying, pushing out waves, and late game he can be a monster regardless because he's gonna get super fat because that's what Queen of Pains generally do. But in this game he just needs to be that team fighting hero because Mars is the one who's playing like a carry, and this Queen of Pain is playing like is the offlaner after all. So they're pushing, and he just ICEICEICE just like casually blinking in, using Shadow Strike, walking away, just making it super annoying for the enemy heroes to like be able to move around in the fights. Just non-stop Shadow Strike, Scream, Shadow Strike, Scream. And he's got plenty of clarities, and you can see like this is very important, right? Like, he still understands his role. Like, he's not supposed to be running in like a maniac, right? He just casts his spells, moves back, waits for the next cooldown. There's some random spells being thrown out. He doesn't have much mana, so he's just lingering in the edges of the fight. And then boom, another Shadow Strike on the troll. Another Shadow Strike. Like, this troll feels awful, and then they just like win this game. Like, the enemy feels like they can't do anything in these situations, right? Because nobody is like putting themselves out of position, and they're not diving mindlessly. And he'll just go for Guardian Greaves this game because he's already got the mech, he's got the arcanes. It's just the right play, and obviously Guardian Greaves costs more mana, which is really nice because Queen of Pain needs a lot of mana. Very nice. So it's like, it's kind of like it's like a Venomancer, but like much more annoying because it can't die. Like, instead of having Plague Wards that can push towers, it's just like jumps around. Like, that's the way he's playing Queen of Pain, right? Like, the Shadow Strike reminds me a lot of Gale. Like Venomancer's Gale. That's what it reminds me of. And obviously Sonic Wave is like the big team fight ult, like Venomancer as well. It's just like less tower pushy, but more annoying in terms of like enemy heroes who just can't move in the fights. Like for example, Troll Warlord getting Shadow Strike, he feels awful. He needs all the movement speed he can possibly get because he'll just get kited all the time.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And now he's got the Guardian Greaves.
Bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
And just killing the creeps, running back, killing the creeps, running back. Just always like baiting the enemy into like seeing if they want to jump him. He never has, he hasn't like used his blink super aggressively. It's always like on the edges of fights where he can like hit his Scream of Pain and Shadow Strike like on the max ranges. There it is, the big ulti to break up the fight. This time he blinks in because the Earth Spirit already went in first and they're focusing the Earth Spirit. Shadow Strike on the Troll Warlord. And nice spells being casted. The only time he really blinks into a team fight is when they're already focusing somebody else. And that's it, GG. Played really well this game. Like, the biggest things I learned this game is definitely about his laning and how he manages to make like a Queen of Pain offlane work against like a really strong lane like Troll Chen. Right? He always like pulled aggro from the carry and try to pull the creeps like more back in like near his tower. So if he does need to blink, he's blinking into his tower and not like near his tower where the Chen can just collapse behind him. Very nice game. I liked his item choices mainly because they were snowballing with the Lycan and they just needed to buy more aura items to like secure the game, right? Keep your team alive, get the auras up, which is very nice. And we can see here like the ranks of all these players very, very high. All top 100 players pretty much.